more to nature every day. What's going on, beautiful people? I hope you guys are doing amazing. It's a little chilly now, but we're still rolling out with more videos. And today we're talking about how to manifest money, how I became rich. And the first thing I want to really talk about is when we're talking about money, a lot of people have different perspectives and opinions about money. Some people view money as negative. Some people view money as positive. So it really comes down to your subconscious mind. What are you programmed with since young to believe what money represents for you? And for me, money is a positive. It's a great thing because for me, it represents freedom, peace. Having money can bring you a lot of peace and financial freedom. So that is my perspective, but it hasn't always been that way. And I've had to change my subconscious mind, my prior programming, to change my viewpoint on money. And before, I used to be in this scarcity mindset of having lack and always, having to grind and work really hard in the matrix and have a lot of stress. And I didn't have peace. And I was working so much and having so much stress that it was actually causing a lot of physical health problems within my body. And so what I now look at is I changed my mind. Instead of having a scarcity mindset, I changed it to having an abundance mindset. And once I changed my perspective, I ended up receiving a lot more. And I'm gonna actually get into the details of getting out of debt and why you don't want to have debt. But first, we have to talk about changing the mindset. So a lot of people are in this scarcity mindset where they're always in fear. And if you look at a lot of successful people, and I'm not talking about, there's certain celebrities out there who have a lot of money, but they may not be happy. And you see, one of my favorite quotes is, happiness is the key to success. So if you love what you're doing, you will be successful. Success is not the key to happiness. Having a lot of money is not the key to happiness. It's doing what you love. And you see, when we change our perspective to an abundance mindset and looking at what we have as opposed to what we don't have, everything changes. And so what I looked at is what is it that I need versus what is it that I want? What is it that I value? And you see, what I value is my time, my freedom, my peace, my happiness. And time for me is my greatest asset because it gives me a lot of freedom to be in nature. And you see, nature, there's an abundance everywhere. So that is what we need to change with our mind. If we look around, there's enough to go around for everybody. Every animal, every species, there is enough abundance. There's enough in nature, and nature continually provides to us. And so what we have to change is understanding what is it that we want versus what is it that we need. A lot of people may want a lot of materialistic things, but that's not the key to happiness. That may bring you happiness in that brief moment in time, but it's not everlasting. So when you're spending your time doing more of what you love, that is time well spent. And that would be your greatest asset. Another thing that I learned is the law of exchange within the universe. By providing service to people, now you're entering the law of exchange. And this is actually what we see in nature as well. You guys know, you've been following me with the garden. Nature continually provide a huge amount of abundance, cucumbers, tomatoes, zucchinis, and it just kept providing the more I kept taking. However, it's not about taking, it's also about giving. And the more you give, the more you receive. So if we learn from nature and understand, even with bees and honey, the honeybees are working hard for the colony, for the whole. They're not thinking of themselves, they're thinking of the whole and the impact they have, and providing for the whole colony as well as the entire ecosystems. So when we enter instead of just thinking of ourselves, we think of how can I impact everyone and the entire world, and what service can I provide. By naturally entering the law of exchange, now you're providing a service in exchange for another energy, which may happen to be money. And the collective, we've agreed on this paper money, but really money is just a form of energy. And we are essentially exchanging our energy for another energy, which happens to be currency. And we also need to, if I'm watering the garden, I have to put a lot of labor in. I have to put a lot of service in order for me to reap the fruits of my labor. If I ignored the garden and just kept taking, and didn't, tend to the garden and provide it water, if it didn't have sunlight, again, the sun continually provides us with light, energy every day, and as well as provides that to all the species and the plants and humans. And so we rely a lot on the sunlight. And so if we're also not being a part of nature and helping nature and taking care of animals and ourselves, we're going to see a decline. So it's all about giving. And when you naturally give and understand that you can provide value, which might be a certain monetary amount, whatever that you decide, now you can start to create different streams, multiple streams. And currency, think of currency as streams. Now you can start to provide multiple streams of income to help humanity. And by giving back and putting your time and energy into something that you enjoy doing, that brings you happiness, something that you love to do, and you tie that with service, you can start to reap the rewards. And you may not see them in a monetary money amount, maybe in other ways, other exchanges. If we look back, even gold, what we're seeing now is like gold is rising. And so we're, going back to, the ancient times where we're entering laws of exchange, whether, me and our neighbors were exchanging different foods, apples for zucchinis. It's an energy exchange, and we're all benefiting. Now, one thing I do want to talk about is debt, and you also want to try to get out of debt. So that means what I've had to do in my own personal experience is living within my means, and not, because if you understand it, the more you buy, if you're buying a lot of materialistic things, if you're buying a lot of cars, now you're going to have to work more. So you're using your time and your energy in exchange for money to pay for those cars. And a lot of people get into loans and they get into debt, a lot of debt. So for me, for financial freedom, because that means the most for me is freedom and peace, it's analyzing what is it that I need versus want. Do I really need to have this many vehicles. I actually bike everywhere. So that has saved me a lot of money and stress, because being in traffic just stresses me out. And so I save a lot of time and energy and stress by biking everywhere. It saved me a lot of money as well. But also realizing that I don't need all these materialistic things to make me happy. So then I cut back on putting money into that. And also, food is medicine. And a lot of times you may be buying food that your body doesn't actually need or benefit from. And in fact, food is super important because that is a form of energy, even sunlight energy. A lot of our food that we're eating is sunlight energy. So if you're eating a lot of higher vibrational foods and cleaning up your microbiome, now you're also going to be thinking a lot clearer, and that's going to help you change your subconscious mind, because we are what we eat. So you're also going to be saving money because you're not going to be buying food that you don't need. I was buying a lot of junk food, a lot of fast food, and I cut that out. My health improved. I eliminated ovarian cysts, endometriosis, acne, a lot of skin issues, simply by not paying for food that wasn't good for me, by putting my money towards food that's healthy for me, or even buying seeds for the garden. Now I am living in a peaceful environment, but also I am living in abundance of food all around me, and it's benefiting my body and my trillions of cells. So I can think a lot more clearer, and my microbiome is a lot healthier, which will impact your mind. So important to realize that we are energy, and we're really just exchanging our energy in this universe. And it's also about service to humanity, and what are you doing to give back? The apple tree provides us with a lot of apples, but we have to take care of that apple tree so that we can reap the rewards. And the bees also help to pollinate the flowers so that we get apples. So again, it's this law of exchange. Everything is helping each other out, and that is the key. And when you get into debt, if you start getting into a lot of loans and mortgages, and I get it, it's tough nowadays, very, very tough. But try to think of it, what is that you need versus want? And you can make things work living in a small space, and I'll get into another video on that and really dive deep. But it's incredible sometimes when you start giving, you actually get way more in return, and I'll share more about my story. But back to debt. When you start getting into loans, you end up taking more energy that you're going to have to pay back. So, again, you want to think of the debt as they make it appear as you can do anything you want with credit cards and going on trips for that short-term freedom, but you have to pay it back. So it's not long-term freedom. And that's the goal. So for me, money is peace and freedom. And the more you have of that, for me, the happier I am. So I hope this video helps you out. And remember the law of exchange. It's all about what you can do with your power, your talents, your abilities to provide service to humanity. And you can create multiple streams of income. And it's all about ideas and thinking creatively. That's another asset, is your creativity. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this video helps you out. If you guys want to see more of these videos and my own personal story and getting into details, give this video a thumbs up. Comment down below of how you were able to get out of debt, ways that you were able to save money, people will really benefit from it. As always, beginning in some whole, healthy, fresh food, beginning in some nature, and beginning in some sunshine. When you do that, we'll all